at Nova Lab Studios here in downtown. I'm very excited to be talking with King ISO of Strange Music. So ISO, like I was saying off cam, I really appreciate you being on, man. So how's it been for you? First of all, I'm kind of curious. Something that I've been talking with friends is how the adjustment there must be for musicians, comedians, people that are performers. That now it's been, over 2 months that people haven't been able to do what they've been doing. And you've been rapping since I think 10, right? It's like you started rapping 10, but then professionally, is this like the longest period of time you haven't been rapping in front of people?
Man, I mean, it's weird, but at the same time, it's like we were able to do what we haven't did in a long time, which is take a break. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm a person that whenever something trivial happens, I like to try to find a silver lining in it, or whatever 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 positives I like to focus on them. Like, yeah, it's definitely a sucky situation because everything stopped and it's a lot of people getting sick, and it's kind of it's definitely weird.
Hmm.
But the time that I've gotten to like spend with my kids and just relax, and it's, you feel me, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade that for anything. So it has its positives. It definitely sucks though, because we're supposed to be on a nationwide tour right now,
Right.
and of course that's our bread and butter, is being on that road. But at the same time, it's like we have to make good with the situation as best as we can.
Are you Do you think for you personally, once you guys can get back to performing, and even then, who knows when it'll be that we can actually finally come out and see, like, have audiences there. But for you,
Hmm.
are you kind of looking at it like this is like a refreshing, like a reset for you? Like you kind of all the because you had just had the album come out. The album had been out about 2 months before all this happened, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you're ready to go full flesh on that. But now it's probably like maybe like a reset, like you said, spending more time with your kids, and then probably once it opens, you're probably gonna be guns blazing, ready to go.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely took the time to reset, do a lot of self-reflecting, um, just really getting my health in check, as far as like, because once I feel like once everything is forced to slow down, once you're not so much on the go, you really get to sit with yourself.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people did. A lot of people had to self-reflect. That's why a lot of people went stir crazy, because they're sitting in the house every day, and is you can't go here, can't go there, can't move, stay on the go. So it's like you get kind of like you get to thinking about stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And so for
definitely.
me, I started, man, I'm a overanalyzer anyway. I'm always overthinking, but to have to sit in the house like that and not really, yeah. So I really took it as time, like, okay, I gotta get myself in check. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to organize this. I need to strategize to do this a little bit better. Let me get my eating back on track. When the
Mm.
gyms open up, you know what I mean. So it
Right.
gave me time to plan.
Right.
Hmm.
So the other thing that I was mentioning that I want to talk to you about. So the prior to I'll give you some backstory. The first song I heard of you was "Fam." That was I think I had just listened to a tech song on
Hmm.
YouTube, and then the algorithm had your song on the side of my screen, and the picture looked cool to me. So I was like, all right, let's see what this song is. So I
Hmm.
hit the song, I listened to it, and then I was like, who is this? Because again, the content of it was very interesting, and it's very I can't say relatable because obviously you're discussing that song as someone that's finally making it, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden these people just show up out of the forest that have been gone for who knows how long, all of a sudden saying, hey man, remember me, take care of me, this that. But then
Yeah.
the whole thing for me was like there's substance behind the song. Because
Mm.
I've never been much of a rap or hip hop fan because I've only kind of heard what the mainstream stuff is, and I'm like,
Right.
This stuff isn't relatable." Like I'm not thinking about the club and this and that. So then when
Right.
I heard that, I was like, all right, I gotta see what else this guy has. So the more I listen, I'm like, this is some important topics that that you are singing about. And the more I researched, I saw that I started to see that you're very big on mental health awareness. And this May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I saw that you had posted like the second day of the month. You were saying, make sure this is our month, take care of yourselves.
Yep.
Why is it that mental health awareness is so important to you? What is it that's kind of made you such a big an advocate of taking care of oneself in that regards? Because I think it's becoming more and more prominent now as to before. Like it was more stigmatized before, where now people are finally coming around to why it's important.
Um, I feel like it's important because number one, like, and I don't think I've ever went on a record and said this, but like, especially with men, we don't. I feel like society makes it or has this type of standard that a lot of people, and it definitely is an invisible standard, but it's not non-existent, but they have this standard of like men aren't allowed to like have emotions, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I feel like that's a big problem with men, especially like independent men who are definitely strong, have a lot of pride, take care of things, rarely show any sign of weakness, because those are the men who go through it the most.
Mm.
And not having an outlet to talk about things, or to, you know, get things out. There's a lot of us who are behind closed doors going through the craziest stuff. So I definitely wanted to, you know, open up and talk about it because, you know, I as a man have been through so much in and out of hospitals to where like I wear my heart on my sleeve, bro. So like there was a time when I just I didn't want to bottle anything up anymore. So like in turn, um I got into trouble, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I did a lot of things that were were me not in the right mind state, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. So my thing was is like when I started going to group therapy and I started listening to my doctors and I started listening to my nurses, um, there was a sense of healing in it. I felt better. So I said, oh, you know, I might do music and talk about this and these experiences one day. But I noticed that, of course, that's not what the mainstream is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if anybody wants to hear this. So I took a gamble and I just started talking about it. And that connected with so many people to where like my fan base started becoming like built on that. Like they were all like, talk about stuff like that. We love this. And people started coming to my shows saying I saved their lives and all that. And it was just from my personal experiences, I saved lives. So I'm like, this definitely has, you know, because you can imagine, like, I don't know if I want to talk. That's everybody's problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want nobody to judge me if I tell them I I'm suicidal or I'm depressed or I don't want to, and I don't want to talk. You know, that's what a lot. So they don't, and they hide it.
Hmm.
So when I started talking about it, and people started embracing it, and I started seeing it was helping people, I say to myself, well, I gotta do this. This is what I'm put here to do. If I saved one life, I could save 100 lives. If I saved 100 lives, I could save 1,000. At least I'm doing something positive with it, and that's why it's so important to me because I know how it affects people. Also, being a person that it's affected in the past.
So, would you say that in addition to kind of you said you went through therapy, how 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 impactful was you relaying all of that through your music to your and you essentially kind of feeling more improved, more like yourself? Like how cathartic was it for you to be able to channel it through that outlet as well, in addition to utilizing the other resources you were?
You said as far as like putting it through music,
Yeah.
um, it felt amazing. It feels amazing, bro. Like, um, at first I was taken aback, and then I was like, holy crap, man! Like people are really receiving this, and it's having an effect. And then I seen that it started to spread, and more people, and it started getting intense to where it was like people were messaging me like, "Yo, you know, you saved my life," and I was gonna, you know, people have had nights where they were gonna what they thought they were gonna go through with a suicide. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I somehow popped in their head or a song that somebody showed them and it made them change their mind. And for me, that's the best type of news I think I could ever receive as far as like having a purpose in this world when it comes to helping people and being some sort of assistance or symbol of strength or pillar of strength. But like for me, I'm like, that means because that means you know what I mean? It's like how
The
many
impact
people
was
can
made.
think about it like if you were to leave from doing this podcast and you go outside and there's somebody, I don't know, laying in the middle of the street that oncoming traffic doesn't necessarily see, but you're able to get there in time and save their life. You'd be
Mm,
like, "Yo, I saved the life today."
right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. It's like, "Yo, like I saved somebody's life. Like that's incredible." And then imagine if you could just keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
So,
So that's
mhm.
kind of what I would think that that's I'm sure something that continues to fuel that for you. And then you
Yeah.
had mentioned that um, kind of when you were saying it's difficult for men to discuss it sometimes, and then once you start to channel and share your experiences through your music, people seem to connect, and they were telling you like keep at it with this, like talk about this, talk about that. I
Mhm.
think just as someone listening, I think the reason that's the feedback is like as like someone that's listening that maybe was uncomfortable revealing that information about themselves when they see someone in that kind of a on that kind of a platform with that popularity sharing that kind of a thing, it's like wow, that guy's doing it. And so I'm not alone, like I'm hearing what this man's saying, the struggles he's had, and it's like that, so it's like I'm hearing that I kind of feel like that, but he's able to talk about it, so maybe I should be able to too.
Right. and that's and that's the part I love about it is because of the domino effect it has with people opening up dialogue. So they hear me talking about it and they say, "Look, well, look at him. He's gotten signed. He's came from being homeless and in mental hospitals, and he was, committed by the board of mental health. He went through all of that, and he's doing shows in front of thousands of people with Tech Nine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that that gives them not only the encouragement to talk about it and embrace it and want to better themselves, also it gives them the perspective of I can make it in whatever I want to make it too with battling this illness. Like I feel like a lot of people are held back by their mental illness, maybe because they don't have the right type of help or the right type of assistance. And then in the same breath, some of these people just don't know how to overcome it and
Mm.
do regular things that we do in life. Like some people have to go to grocery stores accompanied by people, or they have to go through vocational rehab and have to get jobs, doing different things than other, you know, civilians in their own particular lane.
Right.
Like it's crazy. It's crazy how much it affects people. And then I think the even crazier thing is how much people it affects that choose not to say anything and just
Mm.
continue to go through life.
Yeah. For you, when was the like? Do you remember what period of your like what around what time, like what age it was where you were for you was finally like, okay, I got to do something about this because it's starting to become unbearable. I can't keep it within just myself.
Yeah, for me, it was exactly like 10 years ago.
Mm.
And I had a point in time where I was being incarcerated, you know what I mean, for dumb things, but at the time I was homeless and I had like lost pretty much everything. And so I looked at what I had and what I didn't have and what I should have and why I was acting the way I was acting. I was just acting out, bro. Like it was like I don't know, man. I harbored it and I blamed everybody. I blamed everything. I wasn't trying to take accountability. And that type of foolish pride destroyed a lot of opportunities that I had around me.
Mm.
So when I was left with nothing and I got committed under the board of mental health and I'm inside of this, mental hospital and I can't leave, I have to think like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm not listening to these people. I can't even go home. I have to complete this program to be let out on certain conditions. I have legal charges as well for dumb things that I did for not keeping this under control. I have bridges I need to rebuild. So I just, yeah, it was in 2010, about like 20 years old, and I just was like, I need to start taking accountability
Hmm.
for everything. And I think that's what got me on track. Like I was like, I have to be able to manage my symptoms better. I have to be able to not indulge in things. I have to be able to really learn about what's wrong with me and be better for myself and, everybody else around me.
Right. That's honestly that's remarkable, and relatively speaking, it's a very short amount of time that that all of that happened to change for you. Because if that was 10 years ago,
Hmm.
now it's been so within just a few years of all that, you were able to kind of flip the switch, get it back on track, and then continue to rise to where you are, and then from here continue to escalate. That's so, hearing this part of it. I, 'cause
Hmm.
I had listened to some of the interviews and stuff, but hearing this part of how quickly it was done it's really remarkable, and I think it shows that no matter how low you may feel, if
Hmm.
you can just put yourself back on the right track and keep chugging along and keep working and keep grinding, you can get out of the hole.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And it's crazy to think now because it literally seems like yesterday, but man, 10 years, that was a real tough 10. So, but at the end of the day, it's like as long as people were putting that foot forward, I don't care if it took me 15 or 20 years.
Right. That's a good point.
It would still it's always the goal. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Especially if you got life being held back from you, an opportunity. And then at the end of the day, like I feel like everybody deserves happiness. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like to feel love, to feel happiness, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel at peace. And that's my life goal right there. Like I want to be fulfilled in those areas. I'm not really looking for material, but it's a good addition. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
good to have nice things, but at the end of the day, there's people that I know that have those things that don't feel right within. And I don't want to reach a certain level of success to where I'm overly financially stable, but I'm not mentally stable or spiritually stable.
Right.
Because that's when you see people that are in the mainstream media who you're like, dang, this guy's losing it. Like this guy keeps getting in trouble, or this guy. You have people that have committed suicide. You know what I mean? And we didn't see it coming.
Mm,
That's something that I was like, I have to make sure I'm okay before I get there because the pressures of success on top of having mental illness, it magnifies it because now everybody's looking at you.
mm,
Now everybody's watching your every single move, your every post, your every lyric, your every fault, your every flaw, your every foul up. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it's like I got to be sharp. Number one, because I have children and I'm a man, and I just need to be sharp. Period. But when you have people that look up to you and follow you and say, "Yo, you're dope. I admire you. What you do." You got to be sharp because now you got to now you have assumed a role of a leader. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody with any type of platform should consider that. Like, I don't care if you rap about other things and you got 50,000 people following you. That's a lot of people that are tuned in to everything you have to say and they hang on every word. So why would I tell them anything counterproductive if I cared about
Yeah, that's a
it?
good
And
point.
that's something I really had to have a conversation with myself with. Like 1,000 people go download your album, they spend $10. You've made like $10,000 or however much money you've made. These are people that are investing in you. They care about what you have to say. They're wearing your T-shirt. They're promoting you to their friends. I'm like, well, what kind of energy or what kind of message comes with that? Because I look at my kids. Everybody looks at their kids a little bit. You're harder on your kids than you were on yourself.
Of course.
And if my kid comes in the house and he's rapping some song or he's watching some thing on YouTube or he's playing some type of video game, us as parents, we're gonna monitor it. We're gonna be like, what's that? What is that about? What is that talking about? I don't like that.
Hmm.
Don't listen to that. You don't watch that. What are they saying? Cut that off. And I feel like we should look at each other as, in an adult sense and think that like I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna put nothing in your I'm not gonna plant any seeds in your head of anything that could be detrimental to your future. I have a problem with that. Because when I was down and depressed, I listened to certain types of music that I probably shouldn't have listened to. And that music influences you, just like watching movies or whatever you have on social media influences you. These are things that you follow and you occupy your mind with. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Would you say, I've seen other, we hear about other musicians that use their platform
Hmm.
positively, but for you within the music industry, have you noticed that it's leaning more towards one way, as in, does it seem like a lot of them are utilizing it to plant positive seeds, or does it seem like it's negative seeds, or is it just strictly driven by whatever makes the money? I'll go as the wind blows.
And you know what's crazy? Like, okay, so just speaking on from what I witnessed,
Hmm.
I see it all. There are people who just have a personal motive
Hmm.
for whatever they want. And there's nothing against them. That just means they're just worried about themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you have people that are trying to do good, and you have people that are trying to do bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like you can just tell by the content. You can just tell by what they're doing and what they're using their platform. Some people use their platforms to bully people. Some people use their platforms to save people. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's all out there. And I think um well, what I know is it's just about what kind of person you want to be in your choice. Like me, I'm choosing because number one, I'm extremely humbled because I'd never thought that I'd be somebody that people would even care about as far as like, you know what I mean, my story
Hmm.
and what I've been through.
Right.
So the fact that they're buying my music, listening to it, even tattooing, you know what I mean, my brand on their body, like stuff like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, like I I genuinely am thankful. So I care about each and every last consumer. So I know if they support me, they obviously care about what I've been through. So I care back. I care about what everybody else that's listening goes through. So I read their messages, on Instagram or Facebook, wherever I'm at, and they tell me things they're going through in life and how my story inspired them to do better. Like I feel like that's an incredible thing because it's almost like I'm a psychiatrist to some people. I'm not working in a hospital, and
Right.
it's dope to me.
Yeah, I think from like the consumer side, obviously we see the surface level that we see, but to that extent, sometimes it seems clear which artists are driven by which motives, and it's unfortunate because I think the because like you said, if you utilize it the way you are, the amount of outpouring and impact that can be made that maybe the artist initially doesn't realize it's astronomical. And like I'll see it even like amongst friends or out in the community, people will do trends that a celebrity is doing, whether it be a smart one or a stupid one, but just because it's someone that has that platform, they just end up doing it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's but I think, like I said, that's why I've from when I listened to your music until now, I've always stayed with it. It's just because one, it sounds great, but two, the
Thank you.
message behind it is fantastic. And
I
kind of
appreciate it.
and regarding the sound, so I think I was listening to the Independent Grind uh, interview that you had done. So you produced your music, right?
Yeah,
Up to
I produce all my music. Yep.
even under Strange, you still produce it.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. Because they seriously are bangers. They're really really good. Like listening to it, the beats,
Appreciate it.
everything. Because your flow and stuff is that's not even in question. But in when it comes to the actual quality of the music, it's great. And
I appreciate you, man.
the one I wanted to point out. So off the new record, you have
Mhm.
Training for Battle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was really clever how throughout that entire song, the beat is pretty much the sound of the weights shaking and rattling, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy because I was in the gym one day lifting, and I was hearing that sound, and I was like, I should use. I don't. It's weird the way my mind works. I was like, I should use that sound, and I was like, I should make like a beat around it, and then I should make a song about weightlifting, and I should make it an inspirational song about like just being healthy and you know what I'm saying. So like then it started just it started building itself, and then yeah, the song was born. But yeah, man, like yeah, I don't know, man. My mind is all over the place when it comes to production. Like I draw inspiration from like everything.
Right.
So yeah.
Because you started when I was listening, I think you mentioned you yourself started to produce the music around '05.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So
Yep.
that's before YouTube's even taken off. So it's not like you have the tutorials that I'm sure a lot of people have the resources to now. So
Man.
how did you teach yourself when the resources aren't as much as they are now?
Um Trial and error, man, for sure, for sure. I remember I remember they started doing like little beat pack things to where you could like get like Dr. Dre drums or Timbaland drums,
Hmm.
like, and you would just have to search the depths of the internet. But people were getting them, and I don't know. I just started meeting people with them. I was like, "Yo, let me get them drums. Let me get some sounds. Let me get And I started. I learned how to play music by ear. So I think that gave me an edge
Mhm.
because I started emulating what producers were doing. I was like, I'm gonna make a beat exactly like Dr. Dre's. And I'm like, oh, he used this type of kick, he used this type of snare, he had this type of piano, he did this with the bass. That's how I need to make you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I went from emulating like all producers, but like Dr. Dre was like my biggest inspiration to start making beats. And then like the Timberlands and the Scott Storches and all of the other Swiss Beats, Lil Jon, like all of the big
Mhm.
producers. I started to try to make beats like them, and then I crafted my own style off of that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that's how I. But now they have it so easy. Now you can just get on YouTube and then this how you do it. This what you need. This is how you make it sound like. I trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah, they have like
Mhm.
master classes and stuff like that now about all
Yeah,
those. It's
yeah.
pretty
They
crazy.
give you the whole blueprint. Yep.
To kind of go back to, so regarding like training for battle, so you said like so you're in the gym, you're doing that, you're like, I should make a song with this kind of sound, I should make it about the gym, I should make it inspirational. But I
Mhm.
but for you, exercise is it's an imperative part of who you are, because you even mentioned in the song, I think the line was, if you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of your mind, right?
Right.
How long has that been? How, like, have you always been a guy that's like, I gotta take care of my body, or were you just kind of like whatever, and then it just kind of kicked in?
Um, where it was I want to say maybe about maybe about 3 years now. Um, I started finding out. Well, I got a really good friend who's always been supportive of me. His name is Chet Fortune, and he's a personal trainer and he owned a gym out here.
Mm.
And he would just be like, "Oh, you need to start getting in the gym." Like he was one of the people back when I was homeless in like 2010 that would just pick me up and he was like, "Oh, I'm about to start this gym. I'm about to start this. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this. You need to get in here." And then it came a point where I became interested and he started giving me all type of information. And then 3 years ago is when I first started going consistently. And it it was a it was a significant change just in my thought process because now I'm learning what does what and why this is the way it is and what I
Mhm.
need to do. You know what I mean? I really started learning. And 2 years ago we went to a what do you call it? A bodybuilding competition. It's the Arnold Classic.
Mm.
Um and it's like probably the biggest, bodybuilding, competition ever.
All right.
And there were so many fitness influencers down there, man. Like, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. My favorite was CT Fletcher. Um, a whole bunch of positive people who are just they're influencers on health. And I went there and I got so many pamphlets and I saw so many people talking and there was there was thousands of people there, and everybody's in shape and everybody's eating good and and I'm sitting there like, yo, I need to. I need to get on this train, whatever this train is. I want to go where it's headed.
All right.
So I just did more research, and then I started, meal prepping and watching what I eat, and I just started going to the gym every day. And I learned that it was something that I secretly loved because
Hmm.
it's like it's therapeutic. It's very, very therapeutic. Like, and I feel like anybody that has any type of, mental health battles, if you are able to and you can go to a gym, do it. It's a very, 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 very amazing stress releaser.
Yeah, I've read that. I know I've heard there are plenty of studies that support that too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I won't pretend I know the science behind it, but whatever it is that ends up during that process. 'Cause I also think I would think intuitively part of it is that you just take your focus off of whatever's going on briefly to literally just this thing that's in your hand. You're like, I gotta get this above me, or it's gonna be on top of me. So
Yep.
let's keep going this way.
Yep.
So
And
that makes sense.
it's a sense of to me it's a sense of it's a big it's a big metaphor too when you think about dumbbells or weight loss or or repetitions, whatever you're doing in there. Um because you're literally your prime uh mission in there is to better yourself.
Hmm.
Nobody goes to the gym to be worse.
All right.
You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
you literally step in the gym to say, I want to do better. I want to feel better. I want to look better. I want to perform better. I just want to be better.
All right.
If you're dieting, you're saying I need to eat better. You know what I mean? It's about being better. So I feel like mentally that's gonna be very, very helpful
Yeah.
if you're in there making progress and you in there and you're like, okay, I wasn't able to do this last time. Now I can do it. You have a sense of, you know what I mean, of self appreciation and respect and just love just for even taking care of yourself and having a goal to just do better. Period.
Yeah, actually, I never thought about that. That's very interesting you bring that up, where you go and obviously you're going to improve yourself. But if you're someone that's kind of has some internal struggles, and if you do it consistently enough and you see those progressions, that's probably also part of why it's proven to be beneficial because you start saying, "Oh, I'm becoming a better version. I'm becoming stronger, or
Hmm.
I'm losing weight, whatever it is." So that's actually interesting you brought that up. I never thought of it that way.
Hmm. Most definitely.
So to go on to, I'm curious about the rest of the album because I think I was reading it on your Facebook. I forgot where I saw it, but I think you
Hmm.
were mentioning the album was broken down to kind of align with the seven deadly sins.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where did that concept of it come?
The concept of it came from because I'm like, okay, I want to do an album called World War Me, and obviously the name speaks for itself.
Mhm.
But I said I want to make sure I'm not repeating myself because I can do that a lot, just in different ways. But I said I want to break it down into areas to where, like, if you were able to have a transparent moment with yourself and you say, okay, it doesn't even have to be seven deadly sins. It could be what are six things I need to work on that are my toughest battles.
Mm.
And you're not gonna name the same thing twice. So for me, I was just coming up with things like, okay, anger, you know, procrastination, being lazy, you know what I'm saying? Lust, you know what I mean? So it's like I was like, you know what? And I started coming up with the list and I'm like, yo, I could literally just pick the seven deadly sins and then I could put like two or three songs in each category to kind of touch in different areas of each bulletin to where it makes it a well-rounded project. So when people could say, "Oh, I battle with this section the most. This is," you
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it has something for everybody in that
Right.
sense. Some people might not battle with lust. They might be, you know what I mean? They might
Mhm.
have a very strong marriage in there, but then maybe sloth is something they battle.
Mm.
Or maybe they're not lazy, but maybe they battle with anger.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to do it like that, to where I'm giving you different examples of my strongest battles.
Did that just kind of hit you one day, or like the next one? I'm gonna think of it like this, and then you kind of laid it out like that because That's very interesting. What's fascinating to me about that is kind of how you described how not each struggle might be something someone relates to, but given how many there are, someone's probably going to be able to pick at one of these and be
Yeah,
able to relate to it.
yeah, and what happened was I was just I had so many songs, and I was like, I need to formulate it to where it makes sense, and I want to make it like that was my thing. I wanted it to make sense to everybody, so I said, okay, let me generalize this and put it to where it could flow together, to where people could be like, okay, I can go on to this. You know what I mean? I just wanted to
Mhm.
make like a movie. Like
Yeah.
not so many clips in a movie. They don't shoot the movie from start to finish. They might shoot
Right.
shoot the last scene first.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I wanted it to flow together. Like boom, you know, have a moment, and then it ends with Ediches. Ediches was a song that kind of laid it out for me because that was one of the first songs I wrote. And it's like I never wanted to kill myself, just end a part of me.
Hmm.
So it's like the album turns into being like I'm at war with myself. And obviously, if you're at war with yourself, you know what happens in war is, you know, killing. It's you know what I mean. So it's like, and then I played on it. I played off of it because it's like okay, suicide, but that's not what I felt. It was these are a part or parts of me that I'm trying to kill off and get rid of,
Right.
and they're vices, and that's what I wanted to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when that song came out, I was like, "This is good," but I don't, I don't, I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce the title. What is this? So I
Yeah,
copy
it's not.
pasted it and I just put it in, and I think
Mhm.
it's pretty much reverse, right? It's the opposite of
Yeah, yeah,
what it's
suicide
supposed to
flip
be.
backwards. Yep.
Yeah. So that so you said that was the first song you wrote. First song of that album was that's what the one you had written.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Um, the I'm kind of curious also. I think it was in the independent grind one as well that I think you were being asked or was brought up how the different regions of the world of this country specifically, sorry, kind of have
Mhm,
a different style with the rapping, right? You have the West Coast, you have the East Coast, and then you were
mhm.
kind of saying you felt Midwest was the best because it's a melting pot.
Yeah,
And you still reside in the
yeah, yep,
Midwest, so you're still
Midwest,
out
yep,
there
yep,
because Strange is out there in
yeah,
KC.
yep, Lee Summit, yep.
So how I'm curious at any point when you signed with Strange or even when you were brain sick before, right?
Mhm.
Even before then, was it ever did you ever think maybe I'll make the move out to LA? Or was it always nope, I'm gonna stay home. This is the region that
You
just
know what?
suits me.
I I definitely wanted to move to LA. I wanted to go out there because there's not a lot of opportunity
Hmm.
in in the Midwest like that. Like we don't have no big old, Hollywood record label
Yeah,
buildings you can just
exactly.
pull up to and walk in, and hopefully you'll meet somebody, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or we don't have a bunch of Drakes driving around, and Meek Mills, and like Atlanta would have, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or New York, they have those big hubs to where you would mess around and know somebody that knows Dr. Dre.
Right.
Like in the Midwest, there's not really a lot of that. Even though we do have some legendary people here, we don't have that big that big market. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
if you listen to the mainstream right now, like those big markets, those main ones are like Atlanta, New York, and California.
Yeah, that's because I know Tex from there, so
Yeah,
that kind of made sense to me that Strange ended up staying there. But at
yeah,
the same time that it made sense, it was still kind of surprising to an extent. It's like, well, everything is in LA, but at the same time, Tech kind of goes against all that. Hence the whole
yeah,
independent.
yeah. Like
So yeah,
they definitely have a lot of relations and connection with the big dogs out there. But I think it was always their mission to say, well, we could do what they do, and we'll do it our own way. We don't need them. So they built their own fortress out there, which is dope. Like I feel like that's what we have. We have that. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So, and tech has given a lot of people opportunities, not only from the Midwest, but from the South. You know what I mean? You got Ritz, from California, you got Brother Lynch's, you got a lot of different people that tech has rubbed shoulders with. And he created his own hub. and I think that's very, very dope, you know? But in like, yeah, in the sense that we don't really have too much out here. I think we have some incredible talent, but a lot of people try to move away in hopes of, oh, so maybe somebody will discover me. Maybe I'll meet somebody who's famous, you know, that has plugs that could help me jumpstart my career, you know, whatever the
Right.
case is.
Right. Um, so yeah, because with that, it's pretty it's interesting how instead of if tech feeling like I'm a kind of go with where it is, like no, I'm actually buckled down even more. It's like you guys can come here and you can see because hopefully more of that kind of happens because it's because like you said, the talent is there. Talent isn't centralized in one area. It's just it ends up kind of going there because people feel there is more opportunity there, and to an extent, it's right because there are more studios and such out here.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
uh, so so you're I know you kind of you grew up primarily in Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
prior to that, you kind of were hopping around before.
Yeah.
What's so like I can't relate to that. I was born and raised in one place. So for people that don't have that experience, what's it like when you're kind of you're in one place, you're there for like a year, you kind of feel comfortable, and then you just kind of end up having to go different places. For you, was
It,
it were you cool with it? Because like, well, now I'll just kind of pick up and go, or was it like was it difficult for you?
um, as a kid, it sucked because it was like, imagine like you consider, I don't know, your neighbor or these kids from like, those are my best friends. And you're like, well, this is where it ends, y'all, you know. And this being in the early 90s, like we don't have Facebook or Instagram to where I could talk to them every day. And
Right.
once you moved out of town, a long distance call was a long distance call, and they cost a lot of money back then. So
Hmm.
it sucked that in that sense, but it gave me a lot of uh adapting mechanisms.
Hmm.
I was able to adapt, like, because at first, like, I was living in Atlanta a few years ago, and it's way different living in those fast paced cities
Right.
where it's a whole lot of fame and you know and Hollywood type stuff going on. So you see people driving Bentleys and Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and everybody's just it's like Times Square, like everybody's just on the go and on the move.
Right.
And that was a good experience for me because it taught me to be self-motivated. Because I see
Hmm.
people outside, you know, with a big bucket of socks. Hey, get some socks, man. 2 for 20, you know, and that like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
doing everything in their power to make sure they're, you know, just being productive, making
Right.
some money, taking care of their family. They get out there and that you feel me, like they're salesmen. Everybody has food trucks. Everybody's helping each other. And I wasn't used to see. I hadn't seen nothing like it
Right.
because you know, especially like okay, like Midwest, it wasn't really like that. Everybody kind of just stays in their own lane. You know what I mean? There are definitely people who are willing to, but it's not and it's not to the extremity of one of those hot spots. So being out there, I was like, okay, learning to adapt is everything. Because coming from Nebraska, living in Nebraska so long, it's not too much going on. You
Right.
know what I mean? But getting out there is like, oh man, I'm missing out. I need to take this type of thinking back to where I'm from and tell people to hey, check out how they're getting down. Maybe we could get some success like that.
Right.
So that's when I started reaching out and you know networking with people, and then I built a name like that is what I was doing, working with people from there, working with people from California, working with people all over the place.
So the thought, so you went, it was a good experience, like you said. You learned now, then you kind of brought the adaptability, but the mindset was still, I'm gonna take this back home. It wasn't, I'm gonna go there and stay. It's just you were there,
Yeah.
you learned from it, but it's like I'm still gonna go back over there. Hopefully, we can just replicate it there.
Yeah, yep. So I went there, and of course, you know, I thought I would be able to stay. I'm gonna go out there, man, and just, you know, and then I was just like, I got homesick really fast,
Hmm.
and because it didn't, I feel like everybody I knew back home was missing out on something,
Hmm.
and I was like, I need to
Right.
go back, and I need to tell them, I need to show them how this works.
Right.
Because a lot of people, if you haven't seen nothing like that in real time, you don't believe it because you only see it on TV.
Right.
You're like, oh, look at all of them down. I'm like, no, bro, they're just like us. They just they just keep coming up with ways to be successful. Like they're not really sitting around. Like they're getting up doing everything. They're selling everything. They're, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
People are selling dinners. You know, they're cooking out of their kitchen, selling plates, like
Yeah.
whatever they have to do. And I really admired that hustle mentality out there. And you could see it kind of picking up now. You see it more so now. Like there are a lot of food trucks popping up. A lot of people are becoming independent and going and getting LLCs and working for themselves and stuff like that. But I feel like there was a time there's time periods when people didn't really see a lot of that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Got it. I got just one more thing. It's unrelated, kind of goes off. It's regarding kind of your style of rapping. So
Okay.
when you started, because you started young again, right? It was around 10 where you kind of started to dabble with it.
Yeah.
Were you always able to do it at the speed that, because you can change your pace on a dime? Was that
Mhm.
something that had to, that initially you already kind of had, and then you just had to kind of refine it? Or was it something that you didn't have at all, and then you just kind of worked at it and you were able to keep it at that pace?
So what happened was I had my stepfather, he was a real music head and he had a Tupac CD, he had a Bone Thug CD, and he had Twista and Do or Die CD, and I ended up stumbling across a Tech Nine CD, and I'm really, really young. So what I would do um, is I would write lyrics out to learn my favorite songs.
Hmm.
So if I'm writing out a Tech Nine song or I'm writing out a Bone Thug song or a Twister song, I have to be able to, rap it back.
Right.
So if you got Twister, I'm like, I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to keep up with him, and I practice like that. So then when I started doing it, like, people would be like, "Yo, man, you should try to like, you did that pretty good. You emulated that pretty good. Like, you should try it." So I came in listening to fast rap. You know what I mean? Like,
Ah, okay.
so I was like that. That was like my first thought to a lot of stuff. I was like, "Oh, I want to do it like that," and it was like because it was really popping at a certain point in time when you had like Twister he had a man Twister Do or Die, Tech Nine, Bone Thugs, like they had a nice wave at, you know what I mean, when it first became like known like that,
Yeah.
especially coming from the Midwest, because that's all we were hearing.
Hmm. Yeah, because what's interesting to me is that when you maintain that speed and some you just get faster, but
Mhm.
it's still clear. Like I'm someone who even regular, like it doesn't have to be rap, it doesn't have to be fast. I still sometimes I'm like, what did they say? But somehow
Yeah.
when you're with your music, like a vast majority of it, I can pick up at what you're saying because it's clear enough. It's very fast, but whatever it is that you do, the words are clear enough where I'm like, holy crap, how's he maintain the speed? But the stuff you're saying too at the speed you're saying blows my mind, right? Like all the
Oh
time.
man, I appreciate that, man. I always wanted to be as articulate as I could be and as clear as I could be because number one, sometimes when I listen to music like that, I'd be like, "Y'all don't know what he just said,"
Yeah.
and I rewind it and rewind. I'm like, I don't understand that, and I always told myself that I wanted to be as clear as possible.
Hmm.
I wanted it to be to where people didn't have to ask. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh, I know exactly," and I feel like that's because it's better because as a consumer, you're like, oh, I'm not having a hard time because I know exactly what he said. Even though I might not be able to repeat everything back right now, I heard what he said. So I get
Right.
it. So it's not a waste of lyrics. Cause some people just want to be incredibly fast. Like
Right.
if you get on YouTube and type in fastest rap, you'll hear some people and you'll be like, okay, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like who wants to like there's no way that you could you know what I mean?
It's like, are you
Could
even saying anything
understand
or
what
you're
they're
making
saying. Like
noises?
they're just like, come on, bro. Like nobody. So I try to do it at a good speed to where it's not too much and it all and it, it has a pretty good rhythm and you could rock to it and it's sayable. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
rather
definitely.
than like I'm trying to say 50 words in 1 second. Like, no, I'm not trying to do that.
Where does your wordplay come from? I'm curious because I've listened when I started to listen to more and more songs, because you'll say a sentence, the last word of that sentence becomes the first word of the next one, but you change the meaning of the word.
Ah,
If I you get what I'm saying,
yep.
where
I'm glad.
there's so many times I'm like, did where did, like it's very clever to me. And again, my rap music knowledge isn't extensive by any means, but the amount that I've listened to, I haven't come across that many, if any, I can remember off the top of my head that do that. Because it makes it fun too. Because you're like, well, what's the next one that he's gonna do?
Yeah, and I like it too because um it's like for myself, it's a brain teaser for
Mm,
me because I'm like, how can I say that in a clever way? But then, so for me, it's like a puzzle. Like, okay, how can you say this with a double meaning and then transition into this and then also make it rhyme and then make it all make sense? So literally, it's like a math equation. Like it has to equal itself out and it has to make sense and it has to have like a number of syllables that rhyme and you know what I mean? So the syllables rhyme and then also the vowels rhyme. Or the syllables are the same and the vowels rhyme. So it's literally like creating like a puzzle. And then once you have that puzzle, because it gives it that rhythm, it's like da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da, 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 and then you just fill it with words, and then you make it okay. I want to make it have meaning, and I want to say something witty. And a lot of the people that I like listen to that I channeled when it came to that. Like I loved how witty Eminem is.
hmm,
Eminem is incredibly witty. Um, I liked how Tech Nine uses multiple different rhymes. It's like he'll have a rhyme going on right here, then have a rhyme going on right here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He'll be rhyming this and then rhyme with this, and then rhyme this again with this, and then rhyme this again with this. So it's two puzzles going on at the
Hmm.
same time. And I learned like I just became a student of how they were doing it. And I listened to it so many times. I'm like, oh, I want to do it like that. Like saying something as clever as you can with a good rhythm, a good beat behind it, and also like good melodies. So
Hmm.
for me to have to do all of that, like make the beat, you know what I mean? Create the melody, come up with the concept, create the rap, create the chorus, and then put a vision behind it. It's my brain is yeah, I'm at work, man. I put myself through
Yeah,
it.
because you're overseeing everything from the very beginning to the very end, where maybe a lot of artists might write just the lyrics, or producers will do
Yeah,
just the music.
they got it easy, man.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. But in general, though, your process when you're writing, do the beats come before the lyrics, or do the lyrics come before the beats, or it depends?
That it varies.
Hmm.
So there's sometimes when I hop in the shower and I'll have a concept that pops in my head, and I'll be like, "Oh man, I gotta make a song about that." And then I start thinking of I'm a big movie lover, right?
Hmm.
So one thing I love about directors is like plot twists.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the movie, having that shock value, like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Like that's how I approached Ediches. So
Hmm.
it's like if I say I never wanted to kill myself, just in the part of me, people are okay, what is he talking about? So they look at the name of the song and they're like, what is this? Some people don't get it right off the bat,
Hmm.
but it's suicide backwards. So I'm like, what if
Right.
I do a song about suicide that's not really about suicide? So I change it, I flip it, and that's the plot twist at the end. It's like, oh, he didn't want to like rid himself of, or take himself from the earth. He wanted to just get rid of something that's been holding on to him, and it could be an old version of himself. So he's killing himself, but he's not killing himself. And I was in, you know what I mean? Like wherever I had this concept at, I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's it. Let's make it like that. So then I have the whole plot. I have the whole movie plot now. And then I have to start coming up with like a theme. Like, what do I say? Let me come up with a melody. And then for that particular song, I had the concept already, and then I started making the beat
Mm,
to a melody I already had in my head. I never wanted to. So I went in and started, and then I made the beat around it, and then
right.
you have the song and then the video.
Okay, so it just kind of depends. That's like you said, it's crazy how your mind works, then how you're
Mhm.
able to kind of piece all that like that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
Sometimes I could hear a whole song in my head before it's done. I could hear it. I could hear the beat. I could hear the way I'm rapping over it. I could hear the instruments. It'll literally be in my head. So I start with a blank canvas, which is like the beat making program, and I'll start coming up with a melody. Now I have a soundtrack to it, and now I have to write the words to it. You know what I mean?
all right. So is
Mhm.
it an adjustment for you? Like if you're doing a feature, is it an adjustment for you to be like, well, I'm not doing all of it, or is it like, oh, thank
Right.
goodness,
It
this one, it's kind of I just gotta write, I just gotta do
yeah,
my
it,
part, and
it
I'm out of here.
yeah, it's a gift and a curse because sometimes I'm like, I would have did this to the beat, or I would have, I don't like the way they did that. But for me, it's cool because now I get to step in somebody else's world. I'm
Hmm.
a feature in somebody else's film now.
Right.
So it's like, hey, this is what my song's about, and da 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 da. And can you do this? And I'm like, oh, of course I could do it because you already set the stage for me. It's like going
Right.
to a restaurant and eating. You didn't have to prepare the food or nothing. You just had to go in there, order, and eat.
Right.
That's how I look at feat. I'm like, oh, you
That's
got it
interesting
all set
analogy.
out. You have a concept, you have a beat, you're rapping. I'll be able to go off of that. And that makes my job super easy.
Has it happened where you do a feature and you leave and you're done with it, and then you hear the entirety of the song, and there's something you take away from it, or like, you know what, the way they did this or that, I can
Oh
maybe
yeah.
apply that
Oh yeah.
somewhere else.
Especially being around, Tech Nine and
Right.
so many other people that are up there with them. I'm like, okay, they give me a different me. I'm a person like, because I'm super artistic, like I draw inspiration from everything.
Hmm.
I could literally hear somebody singing in the subway and I'll be like, I like the way they put that together. I need to try something like that. You know what I'm not a
That's
person
crazy.
that just shuns people like, oh,
Right.
I don't listen to this. Oh, I listen to everything from
Right.
classical to country to there's some death metal that's dope to rock to punk rock to techno. I'll hear because it's all music. So I'll hear the way they did something like sounds inspire me.
Well, yeah, because like I don't quit. You have like a it's like a you have
Yeah.
rock in there.
Yeah, yeah, a whole rock band, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they're from where I'm from. So I literally reached out to them like, "Yo, I wanna do something rocky with tech." Because I feel like so many people, when they get tech, they're like, "Oh, I just want them to rap fast." But I was like, "I wanna jump into his lane."
All right.
And tech is really heavy into the rock lane, and I've always been a rock fan, I just never did anything like that. So, who better to do it with than Tech Nine?
Right. Is that something you think you might do? You might dabble with more, like collabs like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like yeah, definitely because I don't like being uh in a box. I don't ever want to be put in a box because it's not exciting anymore.
Right.
It's like going to a movie theater and you know exactly what's getting ready to happen. Like, yep, they're gonna do this and this is how the song's gonna be. You know, it's like who wants to listen to the same kind of flow every time? That's why you could put on Ediches and it'd be different from Training for Battle because I'm not singing on Training for Battle.
Right.
You got one song talking about, you didn't want to kill yourself and he just wanted to, and he's breaking it down and it adds. Then you got a whole song about working out. You know what I mean? Just getting up, eating healthy. Then you got a whole another song about, co-parenting.
Right.
You know
Those.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm,
Like I want to keep people engaged.
right. Yeah. Cause I'm the music I listen to most is like rock and metal. So when I heard that, I was like, man, this is sweet. So
Hmm.
that's why I was
Yeah.
asking selfishly. I was like, am I going to hear more of that?
So you talking about the I Won't Quit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trust me, man. Like I'm a big Ozzy Osbourne fan,
Nice.
and I've been heavy on his uh Ordinary Man album that he just put out.
Yeah. There was a couple
Like
songs that I like too. Yeah.
yeah, like Black Sabbath is one of my favorite of all time, and I love the way they have a lot of substance and they inspire a lot of my hooks. Just the way Ozzy definitely like the way he sings and layers his vocals and the stuff he sings about.
Right.
He's like, I'm like, this dude is incredible. He's an he's an incredible writer.
Right.
And those are the type of artists that I listen to. I listen to writers like Sade, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Incredible band. Sade, the lead singer, she's incredible. She sings about stuff that matters, and the way she does it is so different. She's another inspiration of mine. So like I'm all over the place, bro. Like it's crazy because like when I listen, I don't really listen to a lot of rap when I'm trying to be inspired. There's other
Mm.
things. I
Interesting.
borrow from this genre. Let me listen. Okay, let's put some Deftones on. All right, let me watch a documentary. Let me read this, read some affirmations. Let me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I
That's really
live my
interesting,
life
man.
and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring all of that to rap.
That's crazy. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's also part of why I kind of I was able to kind of listen to your stuff, and it was a separator. And in addition to the messaging being good, but
Hmm.
there's a different element to it in its entirety. Now that you're kind of breaking it down like this to me, it's starting to make more sense to me that the influences are coming in different directions. I think it translates very clearly in the product ultimately.
Thanks, man. That's definitely my goal, and I I always want to encourage people to be eclectic in thought process. Like, don't be shallow. Don't you know
Right.
what? Because there's some people like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to that rock and roll crap. I'm like, bro, listen. Like, music is literally one word, so everything is together in it. There's different parts of it. Like I like all movies. I'll
Mm.
watch a suspense thriller. I'll watch a comedy. I'll watch a horror film. I'll watch, you know what I mean? Some things I like more than others,
Right.
but artistic expression to me is dope. I can't just say I like the way one painter paints because you'll see a whole different painting. I'm like, I don't know what it is about this painting, but I like it. But if you
Right.
didn't subject yourself to even be able to try it, it's like food. Like I was real strict on food. Like, I'm not eating what? Edamame. I'm not eating that. What's that? Asparagus. I'm not, what is that, lobster? I'm not eating that crap. And then you try it and then you love it.
Right.
That's the best analogy I could think of. Like I vowed to never eat sushi ever in life. And one day I had some sushi that was incredible. And I'm like, damn, maybe I need to be more open-minded and
Right.
trying to experience. You feel me? It's
Yeah.
like riding a roller coasters. And some people are like, I'll never get them. That's ridiculous. And then they get on the road and now they are an amusement park lover.
Right. Yeah. It's like if it's good, it's good. Doesn't matter what the branding or whatever it is behind it. If you like it,
Yeah,
just like it. Don't worry if it's in a genre or a
yeah.
certain
Out,
style of food, whatever it is.
yeah, expand your mind. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like that's like what there is no knowledge that's not power. You know what I mean? You're in the know now. You learn something new. You have an edge on somebody, or just let's just say you have a dope experience in life. You just add that to a good experience.
Right. Exactly,
Mhm.
man. I so that's all I got for you, man. I gotta say it was very fascinating, kind of unveiling your mind and kind of seeing the processes that you go through in your music, hearing kind of your background, why your music is very um, heavily revolved around kind of discussing mental health, importance of
Mhm.
taking care of oneself. As a fan, it's good to kind of understand more of it, but just as a conversation, it was very interesting, and I gotta say thank you very much for making the time, man. I know we've been kind of going back and forth with
Mhm.
Sean for a couple weeks, so I'm very happy you were able to finally make it happen. It was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Oh man, I appreciate you as well, man. I appreciate you considering me, man. We definitely do it again sometime, boss.
Definitely. Thanks again, man. Have a good night.
Hey, do me a favor, man.
Yeah,
Can you shoot me a message on Instagram so I can follow you?
for sure, dude.
Yeah, I want to make sure I follow you and help promote whatever you got going on, man.
I appreciate that, man. That would be great. Yeah, I'll be sure to get that too.
Yeah, do that. They do that like ASAP, man, because I'll do it right now.
Okay, we'll do. Thanks, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Have a good night. Bye.